This is American Real, where we aim to inspire, empower, and enlighten you through the stories of our guests. Here's your host, Roger Brooks.
First of all, you have a TV show for 50 plus women.
I am a clinical hypnotherapist and I work with a lot of women, and it seems like in this culture that we're in, in North America, women are really on a quest to improve themselves and learn, explore, and so forth. And so I do have some male clients, but most of my clients are women. When I got an offer from the TV network, I was contacted by the TV network and asked, would you like a show of your own? And I saw people, I have seen people over these years quitting their jobs, going into the career they've always wanted to do and living their dream. And I thought, you know what? That's what I want.
Let me guess, you're an entrepreneur looking for ways to grow your business online. And you've probably tried everything to grow your business, including social media, SEO, even paid ads, only to find out that nothing truly works. So what if I told you that writing a book that goes on to become a bestseller is the magic wand, and that you can do it in as little as 30 days, 2 weeks, or even over a weekend in some cases, without spending more than 10 minutes a day? Would you be interested? My name is Roger Brooks, and I'm the founder and host of American Real TV, where I interview world-class guests to empower others through the essence of story. But I didn't get here overnight, and my mission certainly doesn't end here. Ever since I was a little boy, it's been my dream to empower others through the craft of writing and storytelling. And throughout my life, I came across several mentors who pushed me toward my passion for writing books and helping others to do the same. There is no greater joy than to be working with aspiring authors and to help them establish true credibility within their industry by writing and publishing their first book, which I'm proud to say have all gone on to become bestsellers. Now, you're seeing this video because I just opened enrollment for my new book writing program, where I promise to take you from page 1 to published in 90 days or less. I will be personally working with you to overcome the same fears and obstacles that kept me from pursuing my dreams all of those years. Simply click on the link below to see how I could help you become a first-time best-selling author. I look forward to seeing you on the inside.
This is American Real. I am Roger Brooks. My guest today is Lana McAra. You are healing the past for people over 50 because, as you say, you deserve a fresh start. Lana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Roger. It's my delight to be here today.
Thanks. And yes, we're going through this period of such uncertainty now. And as you and I just spoke briefly off camera, the wonderful thing, I think, for people that are used to working at home is our lives haven't changed much from a standpoint of day to day, but so many people's lives have. And I guess just off the bat, how are you doing? How is your family doing? And how are you helping your clients in this time of need?
Wow, this is such a big question that everyone, and I'm on Facebook a lot because I'm on there for business, and I see this all the time. First of all, we're all fine. No one in my family is ill. We don't even have a cold at the moment. I have 7 children. They're all grown up and living in their own homes. And so we jump on a Zoom call about once a week and check in. And, we're actually communicating more than we were. There have been some really positive things that have happened as a result of all this upheaval. And so I feel very, very blessed to be in this space because I do work at home and my job is just going on as normal. As a matter of fact, I don't go out. I haven't been out for 9 days and I'm getting a lot done instead of, running out here or there. So But when I have people that are anxious, usually what I tell them to do is number one, be present. What is going on right now? Are you okay? Do you have enough food in the house? Do you feel threatened in this minute, right now? And coming into that place is so good. Even, I was just cooking a meal the other day, and I thought, it's really, I'm fine. There's nothing. My car is full of gas. I have food in the house. Everything's good. My heater's running fine. I'm okay. And I think that the fear comes from the projection of what will, maybe happen, rather than what is, happening in the moment. What I find is with worry is that when we go into a place where there is a crisis, and let's say someone did get sick and there was hospital and all these things going on, we have a resilience in us that comes up in those times that we don't have before it happens. And so when we worry, we're taxing our body, we're taking down our own immune system, and it's not helping us, it's not helping anyone, rather than living in the moment and knowing if something happens, then I'm going to have the strength to handle it, going to deal with it. That's what we do. And we're going to get through it. Yeah.
Oh, so well said. And I have to be honest, I'm observing a lot at this time, and I'm thinking about what you said, and everything you said, I really try to do, and I really try to stay present. So I'm glad you said that. But my wife will probably kill me. She has been a wreck, for the past couple of weeks. She has been a wreck. She's been worried, and I've been trying to help, but and now she's sick. Now she has a cold,
Mm-hmm.
and so it just I just wonder about that, right? Like those of us that do worry, does that have some effect on our body? Does our immune system come down? Because she eats very healthy,
Mm-hmm.
she exercises, she's in great, I would say, health overall, but the worry is what concerns me. So for someone like me who's experiencing this right now with my wife and other people that may be listening that may be going through it themselves or their spouse or significant other, someone close to them, what would you say next? If they are if they're stuck in that worry, how would you help me right now?
Wow, that's such a good question. It is scientifically proven by the Heart Math Institute that when someone is in a state of anxiety, their immune system drops 40 to 60% immediately.
Wow.
And just one worried thought will take your immune system down for hours. If you're in a state of worry over a period of days, then you are just diminishing the body's ability to fight with its normal processes. So that is really scientific fact, which is one reason why I stay away from the news. I do not watch it. I don't watch all that stuff. I catch the updates reading, not listening to someone's agitated voice on a newscast. That affects me more than just scanning the headlines or glancing through some report, because the news is very troubling. It's extremely troubling. And they're looking for ratings. They want people to watch. And so there's some strategy behind all that. So I just stay away from it because I'm protecting my mental health. I'm protecting myself from the input of other people while still staying informed. And so that's one piece of it. I have blocked people on Facebook who are constantly putting out negative stuff because that is not what I want to go into my consciousness. I want to stay strong. My family needs me strong. And so that's one thing, is managing your environment and what's coming into your awareness, for one thing. The other thing is to stop and begin to listen to the opposite, positive input, meditations, calming things. There's tons of stuff on YouTube that you can listen to, and just get in a quiet place. If you're agitated, put that on and just stop everything and allow that to come then into your mind and reverse the thinking process that is happening. And there is something that I give my clients almost every session I do, and that is to say these 3 statements continuously, because we have a lot of negative thinking going on all the time. It's just, it comes up. But to replace that with these 3 statements: first of all, I'm safe. Second, I am loved. We're all loved by so many people, and just so much. The universe is benevolent, and we are loved. And the third thing is, I'm never alone. I am never alone. And I think that a lot of the anxiety comes up from that alone feeling, like powerlessness and so forth. And we are not alone. And so with those 3 thoughts and saying those 3 things, it brings some peace and harmony into the body, into the mind, to calm these things, because we are never alone. That is huge. And I experienced that. I left my 30-year marriage, and I went 12 hours away, and I was alone. First time in my life. I got married right out of college. I'd never been alone. I went from living at home to being married, and I was alone. And this was something that I did in my own personal development. Those 3 things: I am safe, I am loved, and I am never alone.
Powerful.
They'll shift everything. Yes.
Very powerful. Thank you for that. I am going to try to implement some of those strategies and talk to my wife about those as well. And hopefully others could do the same. So great. So let's move into your story and a little bit more about what you're doing to help people. So first of all, you have a TV show for 50 plus women. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it was something that evolved. I never dreamed I would be working with 50 plus women. But I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I work with a lot of women. And it seems like in this culture that we're in, in North America, women are really they're on a quest to improve themselves and learn, explore, and so forth. And so I do have some male clients, but most of my clients are women. When I got an offer from the TV network, I was contacted by the TV network and asked, would you like a show of your own? I had appeared on someone's show just as we're doing today. And the network saw it, the network owner, and contacted me. So when I got to that point, I had that opportunity, that gut feeling, you have, it's like the answer's there before you even think about it. The answer was yes, but what would I do it on? I had to really go and consider that. And when I got into thinking, I remember I was walking the dog in the backyard, like circling and thinking about it. All of a sudden, it just came to me, most of my clients are over 50. The transformations I'm seeing in them are phenomenal, where they look younger, they act younger, they're so happy and they're excited. And I saw people, I have seen people over these years quitting their jobs, getting, going into the career they've always wanted to do and living their dream. And I thought, you know what? That's what I want. I want to work with that. I want that because it's so juicy and alive and excited. And there's so much energy and fun in that group of people. And that's exactly what it is. We have a lot of fun. Yeah.
So what's a typical show like?
We it's an hour-long program, and I always have an expert spotlight for 20 minutes. And this person brings something to the group that is in line with some topic. I had someone come on talk about moving overseas as a retirement plan. It was really, that was a great episode. And then other personal development things and some health things, and just anybody that's got something juicy that's interesting, I will bring them in, and we'll talk for 20 minutes. And then when the expert is finished, then I go into about a 15-minute segment of my own, where then I bring in my insights and additions to whatever the topic of the day is. And then we do a process. We end up each show with something that we can do to feel better today, something we can do to shift our thinking or clear something in our mind, or maybe some past pain. And I lead the group in some process, and we end on a very positive, heartfelt note, because that's what my purpose is. My purpose is to convince people of the value of their own purpose and dreams.
So that sounds amazing, first of all, but what's the interaction like after the show, post-show? Is there a lot of engagement from the audience after the show, and are they asking questions to the guest, the expert guest for that day? How does that work?
The platform that we are in, the Awake TV Network platform, is a subscription-based platform. The live broadcasts are free, but in order to access the archives, you have to be a paid member. It's like $10 a month. It's very similar to Gaia or Netflix.
Okay.
So there is a place to comment below while the show is going on. And so every so often, every few minutes, I'll check and see if there are any comments, and then we'll respond. And so there's definitely an interaction. I love this network because it's the only one doing this, that you can actually speak to the people on the show when you're watching. And then we also have a Facebook group for interaction between, which is nowitsmyturn.com. You'll go into the Facebook group, and then the speakers are also on the Facebook group. And so then you can interact over there as well. So there is a good level of interaction for sure.
Excellent. Well, we'll definitely put a link in the show notes for people to check it out and hopefully subscribe to the network so they could watch lots of your episodes.
Thank you so much.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But the target audience is women 50 plus. Is that correct?
Correct. And there are some men who are in the group, actually. I mean, it's not like we don't like men. We're okay with that. And I actually do have men come on as experts, because people have said to me, I'm not over 50. And I said, don't worry, you don't have to be over 50. I have men on the show.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. It sounds amazing. And congratulations on having your own show, because I know, number one, it's not easy, to continue to do something like that week after week with the episodes. But more than anything, you're helping people. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. That's why I get up in the morning. I see the show as more like my purpose. It isn't work at all. Although I spend almost a full day preparing for it, doing the show and the after, still, it's just like, it's wonderful. It's just a fountain. It just comes up. And
that's awesome.
Yes, it's great.
How often are the episodes aired?
We are on every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and it's a live broadcast. So we interact.
Great.
Yeah.
That is great. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about some of your work. You have something that you have coined myth busting when discussing aging. Can you talk about that, what that means, and what you're doing to help people with this myth busting?
Well, this is something that I just get so much fun out of. This whole thing is fun to me because, I am of the age, I'm not going to tell you the number, but I could draw Social Security. And what I have found in this— I
don't believe you.
Well, thank you so much. You just got some brownie points for that. What I found in this time that we're living in is that the old attitudes about aging no longer apply. A lot of times people with the old traditional mindset will feel like, now that I am retirement age, that's the time for me to slow down. It's the time for me to start, checking on all the aches and pains and expecting how quickly I'm going to decline. And this is a real thing. I was sitting in a doctor's office and I saw a chart that showed women of different ages and how bent over their back would be at certain ages. And I was like, what? Why would you put that in somebody's mind that at 70 I should be this much and at 80 I should be this much? Who said that? And besides that, we're individuals. We're not on an assembly line. Everybody has their own approach to their life. And what I am seeing in the women over 50, over 60, over 70 and beyond is that we're not slowing down. We're actually speeding up, because all of the structure of our life, the paying the mortgage, raising the kids and the career stuff and all that, is winding down. And now we get to say, what do I want to do? What can I do with the next 20, 30, 40 years? I've got all this energy and all this enthusiasm and curiosity. And so instead of slowing down, we're actually gearing up, because now life is exciting. And it's a real fact that people over 70 are happier than people over 40 or 30, because we have life experience now. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about, because, with all this negativity and doomsaying that we're going through right now, we've been through a lot. Somebody who's lived 50, 60, 70 years, we look back and say, yeah, that's what they said in this year, and that's what they said in that year. And remember Y2K, the end of the world? Well, we are still here. And tomorrow the sun's going to rise, and we're just going to keep on going. And, whenever the time does come that it's our time to transition, then, whatever's ahead is not going to be bad. We're going to be okay then too. And so why should we borrow the future when we're okay today? And that's really a life philosophy. But if you read the medical things and all the stuff that's out on aging, you don't see that. You get more about, watch out, you're going to get heart disease, check your family history, look out. These are the symptoms. And if you see this, you better run right to the doctor, because, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go to the doctor. What I am saying is imbibing these ideas of, expected decline. I know someone who is in their late 70s climbing mountains in Nepal.
Wow.
He's wonderful.
That's great.
And he's just calm, looking forward to the next day. And, that is the kind of mindset that will shift us into the next years, where we can have that optimism, get up every day with energy and excitement for our life, because we have so much to look forward to. And especially as women, I remember my grandmother and my mother even. My mother's almost 80 now. Both of them did not have the opportunities that we have now as women. And one of the things that excites me is we have an open road. We're confident. We've been through some things and we've learned a lot. We have a lot to offer the younger generation. We need to be sharing ourselves and improving, the world, and sitting at home watching The Price is Right, is a totally different view of what we're all about in this time. And people are living over 100 and still functional right now. There's a woman in New York who had her first public art show at 103.
Wow.
And she didn't start showing art until she was 85. That gives me chills.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
A couple things in there that you talked about that I'd love to follow up with. One is you were talking about this gentleman who is the mountain climber, and you use the word calm. Such an important term, but at the same time, I think for people that have not been practicing calm, if they have not been practicing being aware and present, and a lot of the things you talked about today, the mindset, reading positive material, shutting down the news, it's hard to even comprehend the term. And the reason I could say that is because I was there, right? So Roger 10 years ago was not the same person I am today, because I wasn't applying all the tools. Here I am today, in the midst of all this chaos. I have never been more calm. So, and I'm not saying that to brag. I just want to echo your comments of whatever you plant inside your mind day after day after day is what it will return. So if the fear is coming in, if you're looking at those posters in the doctor's office, if you're listening to that newscaster, that's what's going to be in your mind. But if you decide to shut that down and take in what you want when you want, it's amazing. And And I'm so glad you said that, because I'm experiencing it, and it sounds like the very same practices you're helping your clients with, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you're doing that.
Thank you so much. I have the same story. I had so much anxiety and so much just edginess and worry because I came from an abused childhood. And then I was married to a narcissist for 30 years. I had a lot of stress in my life. I raised 7 children, and there was so much anxiety in my body, in my mind. It took me a couple of years to just shed that off and come into this space of calm. And so when I talk about that, it's something that I have experienced deeply in my life. I've had 2 children who were chronically ill to take care of. The potential for anxiety is it's massive. It's massive. But there is a place, and I'm so grateful that this is a fact, a truth. There is a place that we can come to say, I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to get some answers so I can be in peace inside, not just put it on and pretend, but actually have peace inside. And that is a multi-layered thing. And it goes back really a lot to what happened to us as kids, what we experienced of the world as being safe or not safe, and some things we might have experienced through our lives that might have traumatized us and given us even more proof that the world is not safe. But going into that through getting help from someone, and there are so many people today who help people with this very thing. I have worked with so many people. I couldn't even list them all. I couldn't even give you a number how many people I've worked with. Once I found out there are people who can help you with this, I'm not on a quest like, oh, you do that, let me try that. You do this, I'm going to try that. But coming into that where you can go in and find out where that little child that was you began to feel unsafe, and calm that down, because that's a program running in the mind and it's constantly playing. And it really is going into the deep work that will help to take the baseline anxiety down first, and then manage what you allow to come in so you don't reactivate it. So there is a process to it. But the beautiful thing is, it's never too late. It's never too late to start taking control of how you feel. A lot of times people feel like a victim of circumstances, a victim of their past, a victim of their situation or the world, at large. But we really do have control of how we feel. We simply have to know that there's a way to access that and to come into calm without being like, a pinball, going bang, bang, bang all around the pinball machine. We can come into that. And yes, it's not that we're living in some pie in the sky world. Stuff happens. It does. But with the calmness, then we can come into clarity for the next step. And when that mountain climber is up there and they run into a situation, his calmness is his best asset, because he's got the ability now to make good judgments rather than going into the rabbit mindset of looking for the nearest hole and running. And that's what we get into if we're in the fear state. So there is a way to do it. It might not be quick, but there is a way. And one of the beautiful things about it that I've discovered in my own work, because yes, I'm a hypnotherapist, but I also do many other things along with it. And that is, the process can be gentle. You don't have to reactivate the trauma. You can be in a very quiet state. And I do a lot of my work through guided meditations. They're very enjoyable. And yet they unlock those past things that have kept us in that fear state. They'll unlock that, and it just like flies, it just floats away. once it's unlocked, because the mind and the body want to get rid of that. They know, we know inside somehow that that's not good for us, but we just don't know how to get rid of it or how to release it. And so through that guided meditation process, just to release, let it go up just like a helium balloon flying up to the sky. It's gone. And when the session is over, people just feel so relaxed. They're just so grateful. They have this big smile. It's wonderful. I know other processes might work, but really and truly, you don't have to be crying and beating a pillow. And I think that's what a lot of people, that's why they don't access what's out there, because they feel like they're going to have to go there. They're going to have to feel that awful feeling, cry and get traumatized. But no, you don't have to. There are a lot of practitioners who can take you through gentle ways to do it. That's one reason I love being in this time, because the science that's come forward is phenomenal. It's almost miraculous. If you'd have told somebody back in the 1980s that we could do what we're doing today with this kind of thing, they would have said, you're dreaming. But it's real. It's real. It works. And it's absolutely amazing.
So Lana, that's awesome. Just again, you're really, really good at what you do. I could tell, and I so appreciate you sharing so much of your wisdom with us today, because it does make a difference in how people think. And now maybe people will be thinking, maybe I can reach out and get some help.
Yes.
Maybe they contact you as an example, or someone that's in their network. But let's talk a little bit about your hypnotherapy practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you kind of led us into what it is, but why is someone coming to you to begin with? Is it all over the board? Who I guess is your client avatar, and why would I want to come talk to you about hypnotherapy?
I should say 100%. I did a survey of my clients a couple of years ago as part of, understanding who I was working with. And 100% of my clients have high anxiety. 100%. 80% of them have some form of depression. That's just sadness, just can't seem to pull themselves out of it. And those the surroundings for those two things have different stories behind them. One of my clients, her husband was in a motorcycle accident. He almost died. She cared for him for a solid year, getting him literally back on his feet. The bills were coming in. He was out of commission. She was dealing with everything, the medical people, the bills. She was traumatized. And when her husband finally went back to work, she came to me and she said, I can't get over it. I thought once he went back to work, I'd be okay. But every time the phone rings, I go get the mail. I just get all this anxiety. And she was so thin and so gray. Her face looked so gray. And when she was sitting in the chair, she was kind of hunched over. And my heart just went out to her. We did one session. She went home. I didn't hear from her. She was supposed to come back the next month. It was a month away. And I told her, take a month. You've been through a lot, And so the next month she sent me this email and she said, I'm going on vacation in Maine with my girlfriends. I can't come this time. Let's do it next month. So she did. And the next month she came in. And this was after one session. This is my most dramatic change that I saw. She walked in. She had a pink stripe in her hair. She had on jeans and boots. She came in with this attitude. She said, and I looked at her and I went, what happened? We worked together for 3 or 4 sessions, and she was cleaning houses for a living, quit her job. Her and her husband bought this little shop, this little gift shop in a beautiful little historic town. It's awesome. It's beautiful down there. She's living her dream. She is so happy. And I went to her opening for the store, and her husband came up to me and said, I just want to thank you, because I lived through that. I saw what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened there? And I know that's one of your more extreme examples, I guess, but what actually happened there with her, did she just come into her own and was able to get past whatever was blocking her from accomplishing her goals, her dreams?
Yes. We went through a process where she was able to not just focus on that one thing, although that was the focus of the session, but there are a couple of processes where we can literally do this guided meditation and just take off negativity, like pulling a paper off a tablet. And you take that one off and crumple it up, throw it in the trash. You take the next one off, crumple that up and throw it in the trash. And those first processes are what we call general, because they get a lot of stuff at one time. And in an hour and a half, even though the person doesn't know what's written on those papers, so they don't have to read it, experience it, and reactivate it, they can still take it off, throw it away. And the mind is so brilliant that if we frame it in the right way, she could get some of that childhood anxiety. She can get some of that trauma from when she was a teenager and maybe she was in a car accident, and this just reactivated everything. Because when we get into that anxiety state, usually it's like a ball of string, like all the stuff in our life that has ever caused us to be afraid comes back, and together, and then we have all of it to deal with. And so those processes where you're just like tearing it off and throwing it away might seem silly, but it's actually letting the brain get rid of the trash.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's when I first experienced it, when I went through the training, I've been through many trainings. The training for this, I was transformed. All the stuff that had happened in my own life, years of abuse from my childhood, and all the stuff in my marriage, and it wasn't like everything cleared up at one time, but enough of it changed that I felt different as soon as it happened. And when I came through that facet of the training, because we were practicing on each other and we experienced it, everybody experienced it, I knew I wanted to do this with my life.
Wow.
This was something that changes you in a positive way without feeling bad. There's no feeling bad involved. I had been through therapy for a long time, and I know, and losing it and all the crying and having to go back to the past when I was 6 years old and this and that happened, I've been through that. But to be able to take it from this angle, and this isn't hypnotherapy, this is something called holographic memory theory. Holographic memory theory, and you can look that up, Google it, is a scientific method that with instruments that can isolate where we're storing these memories in the body and dissolving them. This body is holding your memories. And that's why a lot of times the therapies that we do, they only are from the neck up. They're all in the head. When a lot of the trauma is actually stored in the body. And this is why people have pain. And I think that older people, the reason why they look, so heavy and burdened is because they're carrying how many years of stuff in the body. It's heavy. It's holding them down. And when we get some pain that doesn't seem to have a source, I had a lot of pain in my shoulder. My shoulder would lock, and I would have to go get massage, acupuncture, massive things to try. I got an electrical stimulator one time because I had so much pain in the shoulder. Well, later I found out this was where I was storing all that stuff. Oh, there's something upset me? Well, I'll put it there, And so the releasing is not what you expect. It's not what you expect. And that's why you don't have to relive it, because the reliving part is up here. And the trauma part is in here.
Amazing.
So holographic memory theory, look it up. There aren't very many practitioners out there. It's only been around for 3 or 4 years.
And that's part of what you do?
That is a major part of what I do.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow, I know a lot of people are going to say, where do I sign up? because you could just tell, again, from your experience in doing this, that it's another approach, right? It's not,
Yes.
it may not be for everyone, but if someone is willing to do this, it might be the best thing that they ever did.
Absolutely.
What state of
Absolutely.
mind is the client in when, are they aware of everything? You know, we hear.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is a client directed session. And so we go into meditative state, just like you would do with any meditation, you know, sit down, get calm, and then, you know, we relax and do some breathing. And then we just go into these imaginary guided meditations. Just imagine you're walking on the beach and this is happening and that's happening. And it's a beautiful setting always. It's a very relaxing setting. And then we go into these various processes, you know, with the papers and throwing them away and different things that we do. And then we come back and open your eyes now. You're back to the room. And that's it. That's all it is. And the client remembers every single thing. And a lot of times we'll sit there afterwards and they'll tell me, you know, the experiences that they had and what happened and all the cool stuff, all that fun stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And is it always in person, or do you do this virtually as well?
I do it also on Zoom. Yes. And I do screen people who are qualified to do it on Zoom. If someone has something that is needing, you know, a psychologist, I would not work with them on Zoom. So I'm very careful. But most of the people, I mean, probably 95% of everybody that contacts me can do it on Zoom. It's not invasive. It's not upsetting. Yeah. There's certain situations that wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Heavy stuff, but very, very important. Another thing that you really like to talk about is stopping self-sabotage. Can you discuss this for us?
Oh, absolutely. Oh man, this is something that I did for years and years and years. In my business, I've always had like a side gig going on, you know, I've always had something going on. And I would work so hard and I'd take all these courses and I do everything exactly right and get no results. And what I realized later when I got into all of this other stuff was that self-sabotage, you know, at some point happens. And what I call this looking through a cracked mirror, because when we see ourselves, some trauma state, something that happened gives us a false picture of ourselves. So we have limiting beliefs, you know, like, oh, I couldn't reach out to that person. They're too important. They wouldn't want to hear from me. And different limiting beliefs that we have as a result of past programming that makes us see ourselves in a way that's not accurate. Because if we really look in the mirror, a true rendering of ourselves, a lot of times our friends will tell us, you're really talented, you're great, you should go with that, you know, you're going to do fine. And yet we don't see it. Because when we look in the mirror, we see ourselves in a different way. It's distorted. And so getting clear on ourselves and releasing those misinterpretations of who we are is the major way to stop self-sabotaging. Just get real, because we have talents and abilities. We all do. We have experience. We have a lot to offer. Self-sabotage is not seeing that accurately. And it's so easily taken care of.
Yeah, no, and again, it's one of those things maybe that you don't think about all the time, but as you're talking about it, you know, you know, I could see a lot of people, and again, I used to do this myself, and I probably still do, you know, at times. But again, I think it's something, once you understand it, you can improve it, and then hopefully eliminate doing that again, right? You catch yourself and you say, okay, I'm doing that now. I'm not doing, you know, again, throw that paper up out and, you know, not focus on that. I can do it, you know. I had someone reach out to me a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, just saying, hey, look, I watch your podcast. I love what you're doing. I started my own podcast. I see you interviewed all these wonderful people. But I've reached out to people and they're not responding. What do I do? You know, so I just thought about it. And basically I told them, don't give up. Right? You are no different than me or anyone else. You have to start somewhere. So get one person and then get 2, and then get 4 and 8 and 16. And before you know it, you'll have all these wonderful people on. But the biggest thing is don't give up on yourself. Don't self-sabotage so that you're not able to make that phone call or reach out. You are good enough. So these are things I think that creep into our lives all the time. It's how we react to them. So again, another very important topic. I'm glad you brought that up. And if someone is struggling with this, maybe they are aware of it, but they're still doing it. Any tips on what they might be able to do to try to improve to get better?
Wow, you just opened the door for me on that one. Would it be okay if I did just a little demonstration?
Please.
Okay, I just love these.
I'm game.
I'm like, okay. These are so fun. And this is just like a little sample. You don't even have to be in meditative state to do this. So when you find out that you're self-sabotaging, you get that stop, you know, like you're wanting to do something and you're like, ugh, I don't know if I can do that. You just stop and pause. And you ask yourself a couple questions. And I'm glad this is recorded because people can come back and do this again and again. You ask, how old was I the first time I had this idea that I could not do whatever it is I'm wanting to do? How old was I? And then you just let that come up. And Roger, if you'd like to just like think of one and play along with me, that'd be fun.
Sure.
If you want to.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how old was I? And the first number that comes up is the right answer. So a number will come to your mind, like I was 6, I was 5. And so when we're asking these questions, just remember that the subconscious mind speaks very softly and it'll come right away. 6, 4. The conscious thinking mind will come behind it and say, I don't know, that might not be right. Don't listen to that second guessing part. Take the first answer. Okay, so how old was I? Was I inside or outside when this happened? Was I in a house or outside? The next question is, was I alone or with people? Was I alone or with people? Now, sometimes that'll bring up a memory. It doesn't have to. So if you think of some memory, then fine, that's good. But you don't have to. If not, your mind knows what it was, doesn't matter. Okay, the next question. You take your hand and say, where did I store this memory in my body? And just let your hand touch the place. Now, I'm just going to use my shoulder because it's easy to see. But you just touch the place with your hand. Where did you store that? Okay. Next question. What color is it? The first color that comes to your mind is the right answer. You're not seeing it. You're just assigning a color. I'm going to say mine's blue.
Mine is blue as well.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to play an imagination game. We're going to pretend that this place right here is stuffed full of cotton candy. And we're just going to pull it out. Put it in your other hand. Pull that cotton candy, whatever color it is, that blue color, and put it in your hand. You're just going to pull it out. You're going to like make it a pile of cotton candy right here in your hand. And you just keep pulling until you kind of get an idea that you're done. You get a feeling like, okay, I've got it all. Sometimes it might crawl. Sometimes it might migrate. Just get it all. And now when you're ready, just have this blue ball of cotton candy energy in your hand. All right, so as it's in your hand, it just becomes like a little ball of energy, and you're going to grab it by the sides. You're going to stretch it into a widescreen TV. And as you stretch it down to a widescreen TV, you're going to put a border around it, like encapsulate it. Now it's a TV. And the great thing about it, when you stretched it, it became a video. You can't see it. It's too blurry, but you see color and you see movement. It's a video. All right. So now on the bottom of this screen, you've got a little knob that's going to turn the color off. You're going to just turn that knob until the color goes off. It's going to either turn white or black. It doesn't matter. Just turn until the color goes blank. And when you have it all turned down, it's going to now become like a slate. You're going to write on it with your finger. You're going to write all the lessons I learned from this event. Because a lot of times we think we learned something. We don't want to forget that because we learned something. Well, we're going to record the event. You don't have to know what you're writing. You can just write because your mind knows what it is. You don't have to consciously know what it is. You just write. And sometimes I get impatient, write with all 5 fingers at one time. Just keep writing. Sometimes I get a little upset. Right. Just get it out. Get it all out there. All the lessons that you learned. Just keep writing until it's all done. You got it all written down. It's great. Then when you're done, you're going to squeeze it down to the size of a DVD. Squeeze it down. So now it's like one of those red box DVDs. All right, now you're going to hold it up over your head as high as you can. Be careful if you're in front of a wall, but I want you to throw it backwards as hard as you can. Bam! Throw it up against the wall. And now take your 2 nail guns and nail it to the wall. Bam, 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 bam. Yes. All these body movements are important. Okay, now do a little chest test on your body and notice the place where it was. Notice how it feels. Notice the change. Notice how light you feel in your body and in your mind. Now see if there's any blue left. And notice what happens instead. Okay. And if some rare person might have a little left, they can do it again. But most of the time it's gone. It's all gone.
Wow.
All right. That's it. That's a quick and easy one. You can do it in 5 minutes.
And is that something you recommend people do over again if that comes back, if the feeling comes back, or if they're stuck?
Absolutely. And you can do it anytime for anything, just about. Now, sometimes you need deeper work. You know, my client, Jerry, she might have been able to relieve some anxiety in that moment, but she wouldn't have been able to have that massive transformation without a full session. But this, if you have that anxiety, say some newscast comes on and all of a sudden you're feeling like, oh, turn it off, get calm, pull it out, pitch it, right on it, pitch it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. That's why I love doing, thank you so much. That's why I love doing these conversation interviews, because you never know what's going to come out of them. You know, we had our list of topics, but we definitely didn't discuss doing this. So again, not only are you helping me, you're going to help many people in our audience. And I can't thank you enough for that. That's wonderful.
That's my joy. It's my joy.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we can't let you go yet. We still have one more important topic to discuss, and that is your writing. This is something you've been doing for a long time, and I know it's important to you, and I know you help lots of people with your writing. Can you tell us exactly what you do?
Well, my old life. In my old life, which is still true today, actually, I'm a best-selling award-winning author. I have 20 novels that I wrote before this transition.
Wow.
Yeah.
20 novels.
20 novels. One of my novels won a national award in 2001. And I just love that world. I guess that's one of the reasons I gravitate toward the guided meditations, because it's a story and I love, creating stories. After my divorce and my big life transition, I changed so much that I felt like I didn't really know my voice, which I'm getting back now, which I'm so excited. And so I started writing for other people. And so I've been ghostwriting now for about 7 years. And I write for other people. I write books for other people on topics of wellness, personal development. I've done a few memoirs. I did one novel. I ghostwrote a novel for someone who wanted to show what they did in novel form instead of writing a book, a nonfiction book about it. And I love that. I love that because I work with a lot of really creative, exciting people, and we discuss ideas and then do the work and all of that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me. So that's like my bread and butter job. The hypnotherapy is what I absolutely love to do, and I'd like to flip it, where I'm doing more of that and less of the writing, and eventually I will. But for now, I'm doing that double gig thing.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And the first time we spoke a week or two ago, I mentioned to you that I'm also a writer, and I've been working on a novel for 7 years. And you said, "Well, that's a long time, but tell everyone what you told me."
My first novel I worked on for 14 years. 14
I don't feel
years.
so bad. But that is also the novel that became a bestseller. Is that right?
Yes, it was a bestseller. Yes, it was a different novel, won the national award, but that one sold 250,000 copies.
Incredible.
Yes. It became a series.
Can you tell us the title so people could look it up if they're interested?
Sure, absolutely. The title of that first novel, which became then a bundled 4 series, It's called Colorado. And my name I used for my writing then was Rosie Dow. You're not going to find Lana McAra on Amazon, but if you put in Rosie Dow, ROSEYDOW, you'll find me there. Colorado was the big bestseller, and I had several that sold around 100,000 besides that one. But then the one that won the national award is called Reaping the Whirlwind, and it is a historical novel about the Scopes evolution trial in 1925 that changed the trajectory of American education from that point on. Yeah, so I found out that it was a much misunderstood event. Nobody really knew what happened. There's a play out called Inherit the Wind that was total fiction. Nothing in that movie happened. And when I found out the truth, I thought, man, this is a story. It's really exciting. I have to do this. So I spent 2 years writing that one. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Do you mind sharing a little bit of information? I work with a lot of writers. We actually have a course where we help people write their first book. And I think there's this, thought, especially for first-time authors, and I've written a couple books now, so I definitely am not writing the book for the money. I mean, that's like the last thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who has had great success with it at that level, I mean, you've sold a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just share with us a little bit about the career side of writing and the truth of that? So what I'd like to do is share with people the truth, so they don't have a false, understanding of, if I become this writer, I'm going to sell all these hundreds of thousands of books and I'm going to become independently wealthy. What's the reality of that, so people might have a better understanding?
Well, for one thing, you absolutely have to do it as a passion. Writing is a long and tedious and lonely process. And your friends and family are going to get tired of you talking about it. I'll tell you that right now. And after they've read it one time, they're not going to want to read it again.
Speaking of that, I have to tell you a quick story. When I was in year 5 or so, I received a gag gift from my brother-in-law at Christmas. And I opened the package, and it was a block it looked like a book, and it had, nice binding around it, white pages, and on the front it said, writer's block. So yes, my family did get
a little
sick of
overwhelmed.
me talking about it and saying, when's this book going to be done? You're in year 5. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's exactly the story, because my first book I rewrote 5 times. I wrote it twice, then I changed it to historical, changed the setting completely, wrote it again, and on until I finally I clicked into a market, and I finally got published. That went on from 1982 to 1996. So yeah, you have to do it as a passion. Another thing is, nobody can teach you how to write. They can give you principles, they can give you advice. If you find a good editor, that person is worth gold to you, because they can give you feedback, but they cannot teach you how to write. The only way to learn how to write is to write. Just keep writing, keep trying.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad, because the program we have is just that. It's a program. It's more of an accountability program for you to stay consistent, right? And get into a rhythm and a pattern and have a safe space, and, do all the things you need to do, whether you burn incense or listen to soft music. You have to find your own groove, but you have to do the work. No one's going to write the book for you.
Exactly. I had a novel writing course for 5 years that I did by correspondence. Once I won that national award, so many writers were coming to me wanting help that I finally started to give them feedback. That was really what it was about, although we went through the various facets of writing a novel. So yes, there's that. The other piece of it is that it is not really a money-making venture. You can make money, but the chances of you making money is so delayed, and so uncertain. You could make a lot of money. That book that sold 250,000 copies, I made $50,000 off that book, but it was over a 2-year period, and you can't live on $25,000 a year. Even the bestseller that I ever had I still couldn't live on that amount of money. So, the money is really secondary to fulfillment. I was having fun. I was having a lot of fun. Of course, I was raising kids and I was doing this as a side gig, right? And there was a breadwinner in the house. It wasn't just me. So there's that piece of it. But the other piece of it, which I always tell writers when they come to work with me, is that if you're writing a nonfiction book, you have learned things about business and you want to get that 12 steps to success kind of book out there, then be prepared to have something after the book that they can access that really is a business. Every book has a potential to be a business. So the 12 steps could then become a 12-step program, and then coaching and all these other back end things. The book isn't the main thing. The book is just to get you in the door. And then the money comes from what you do with it afterwards. And one of the challenges I've had with working with writers is they don't want to do the business part.
Right.
They just want to write the book. And that's only half the job. The work really starts when the book is done.
No, thank you for putting that into perspective, because it's a lot for people to comprehend, especially going through it the first time. And, like you said, it's really a tool. It's a tool for something further. There are exceptions, of course, right? I mean, there are the Dan Browns of the world that absolutely, they're not only earning a living, they've built an empire around it. So, that can happen. So, and we don't want people to give up on their dreams either, but the vast majority of people aren't even at the level that you've reached. And that's quite incredible, the amount of books that you sold. Most people, from what I heard, the stat is they sell less than 5,000 books.
Yes, 5,000 is kind of the benchmark.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, even if you sell 5,000 or less, if you're using it as a tool, if maybe you're a speaker, or maybe you have an online program, or you're a coach, it could be a fantastic tool to be able to help promote that and give people further reading material for what you're doing anyway.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say also along those lines to just bolster what you said, and that is these massively successful people like Dan Brown, Mary Higgins Clark, some of these names, oftentimes they wrote for years undiscovered.
Good point.
And they didn't do it because of fame and fortune. They did it because it was in their heart.
Absolutely.
And it's a building process. You build fans, you build the following, you build credibility with the publisher, and consistency is huge. If they can see that you have put out 5 books over the last 10 years and they've done okay, at least, that they would take a chance on you for a bigger publisher, that consistency is huge, because they need to know that you can complete, that you can deliver, that you can end a book on a good note and finish the job. They need to know all those things. I think as writers, we get so tied up in the inspiration part and the creativity part that we forget that publishing is a business.
Yes.
And you have to show what you've got in order to keep progressing to the next level in that arena. It is something that you need to approach systematically and consistently and so forth. But don't do that to the point of losing the joy. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, every morning before I homeschooled my children, write for 2 hours, just because that was my time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I can relate to that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been an amazing conversation, Lana. I can't thank you enough. If people are interested, if they want to contact you, maybe they need a ghostwriter. I know you're still doing a little bit of that. Maybe they want your hypnotherapy. Maybe they want to do some myth busting around aging, or maybe hire you as a coach. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Facebook, really. If you go on Facebook, Lana McAra, go into my group, nowitsmyturn.com, and message me through Facebook. I'm on there all the time. My email address is very simple, lana@lanamcara.com. And visit my website, lanamcara.com. Thank you so much, Roger.
Oh, absolutely. But before I let you go, I do have one last question I'd like to ask every guest. And you have a lot of life to live, and you're helping others live a longer life with all the things that you're doing. But at the end of the day, when your work is done, what type of legacy do you want to leave here on this earth?
Wow, what a question. You know, I would love it if people could learn and understand from my work in the media, my writing and everything else, that it's okay to feel better. It's okay to feel better. You can feel better. It's not as hard as you think.
Lana McAra, welcome to the American Real family. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to air this episode.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into American Real. Be sure to visit our website, americanreal.tv, or search for us on iTunes or YouTube for past episodes. While you're there, please rate us or leave us a review, as that helps others find our show. I am truly grateful and appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to be part of our inner circle or want one-on-one coaching, check out the American Real Learning Academy, where we have self-help groups and courses so you can build the best you. We also have a new Facebook group where you can connect with high achievers from around the world. If you want to go even further, maybe you're determined to write your own book or launch your own podcast, contact me today to see if we could help. You can reach me through Instagram or Facebook, or email me directly at roger@americanreal.tv. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.